What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Howdy, everybody. Well, let's see if some more people show up. I don't do a lot of live videos. Today is anniversary day. I started Drew Does Tools exactly 1 year ago, August 1st, 2025. Go watch some of my early videos. They're kind of funny. Maybe these videos are kind of funny. But if you're watching this on a Saturday night, you're probably into tools. So I've got something kind of fun in store. I don't know if you guys could see this on screen. If you see me looking away, I'm looking at the chat on my iPad. What's up, Dan the Fisherman? How's it going? Thanks for joining. Yeah, thanks. It's pretty crazy. I didn't think we'd be here. Not that I'm uber successful, but after a year, I'm happy to have everybody that's here. So tonight we're going to go, this is a little bit controversial, I'm finding out. As I mentioned, I'm late to the party. I was on, if you haven't seen my channel, I was on vacation for a week or so. So I'm a little bit late to the Stealth Force Ridgid Nuke impact driver. So my first test on it, well, if you haven't seen it, it overheated kind of quickly. So I figured tonight we'll do a little test live, so I can't fake anything. Not that anybody said I was faking my tests, but we'll just see what happens. As I've mentioned before, I'm not sponsored. I buy all my tools myself. I don't have a single tool that I've not bought, let's say, or it's been sent or anything. So if I buy this for $169 and it overheats, you know, that's on me. It's not like I'm trying to talk bad about any brand. I say that a lot on my channel because I'm not biased on any of my tools. If a tool works and it's good, that's great. If it doesn't, then I'll show it on the channel. And I'm not, you know, I don't have any incentive to say one way or the other. Okay, so I want to give a shout out to Tool Squatch. Someone commented recent, or actually like a few minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, and said he did a test and this did not overheat. So that's great, because if I'm out of the norm and this thing is defective, you know, being a new tool, then let's show it. So I'm going to take a look at chat here. See if there's any requests. If you guys, it's kind of late here. I'm not going to run like non-hydraulic impacts. My neighbors are probably going to hate me if I do that, but this thing is quiet. And if you saw my first video on this, don't get me wrong, I told you guys how capable this is. You guys have seen all the other channels. This thing's impressive. It's really quick. It doesn't make a ton of torque, but somehow it gets the job done. But if you, I don't have it with me, but if you're nerdy like me and you read the instruction manual, it mentions heat, and if it gets hot, it says it will slow down and you'll lose some performance. So let's get some action before I lose the audience here. So I've actually had this, it's about 70 degrees where I live. I've had this under a fan for about 45 minutes. I didn't use it today, but just to really, really cool it off. Some people mentioned the Godzilla lag that I ran it against. So I ran that for like 10 seconds. You could see in the video, I did fast forward it, but I didn't run it for like 90 seconds like me and Caleb Ross do with the impact wrenches. So it didn't really have a lot of time running to like overheat, and then I ran it with the smaller screws and it stopped. Anyway, let's see what happens. Let me get a fully charged tabless battery. All right, so this is Ridgid's EXP tabless 4 amp hour battery. A lot of people are using it. It's a great battery. Again, fully charged. We're in speed 3. So I thought what we'll do, I've got these little 1/4 inch lags, if you want to call them that. So we'll run these in and out. Now this is plywood. Keep that in mind. Plywood's not easy to drive into. We'll run these, see what happens. I think it'll run them. We'll pull them out. We'll run maybe a couple of these, also little 1/4 inch lags, a little bit longer. And then we'll run these exact same timber screws that I ran in the other video where it overheated. So yeah, let's see what happens. Let me run a few of these. Let me get my adapter here. I'll try to take a peek over at chat. Like I said, I think I've only done one live video. Got a little bit of a drink here. So yeah, these are 1/4 inch. I think they're 7/16 head or drive, as I call it. Love these little nano sockets. These are little Amazon Astro. Harbor Freight makes some good ones, if you're wondering. So Dan says, I had to pick the Stealth Force as I had no hydraulic style impacts yet. Yeah, you can't go wrong. Well, it's early. I'll just say the Stealth Force is extremely, extremely capable. It's almost unexplainable, inexplicable how good this thing is, or how, I can't say how powerful it is. It doesn't make a lot of torque, but it just drives things in so fast. Okay, so I'm gonna run 4 of these kind of non-stop, well, yeah, back to back, pull them out, and then we'll run the 3/8 drive. And oh, one other thing, guys, just because I'm live and we want to be transparent, I've got my infrared thermometer. So looking on my iPad here, I don't know if you could see that, it's 73 degrees. I'll do it a couple different spots. If you can't see it, I mean, take my word for it, I guess. So 73, 74, 74. Battery's fully charged. It's been on the charger for a while, so it's kind of cool. That's saying 80. Okay, so point is, it's not like 100 degrees and I'm starting hot here. Okay, here we go. And just in case anyone was asking, we're on speed 3. Okay, let's go a little bit away from that one. Here we go. Now, I don't know if you could hear it, but, and this isn't true just with this hydraulic. Any of the hydraulics, if you get towards the limit of their torque and they have to struggle, you do get a ton of vibration. Now, I've noticed this with the DCF 870, the Milwaukee Surge 2, even the little, you know, hyper tough. They will do that. They'll create a lot of vibration and kind of surprisingly get a little bit loud, despite them being quiet. Now, this is a very quiet hydraulic. Here we go. Here's a fourth one. Okay. Now we're gonna, we'll pull these out before we switch so we don't have to change the socket too much. Okay, let's yank these out. Let's get hot. Okay, very hot. See if I could hold one of these. Some people ask why I wear gloves. I know in the field a lot of you guys don't. When you do these tests, I don't know if I could get this. There's 100, I don't know if you could see that. There's 183 degrees. If you can see that, driving it in and out once. So I'm not manly enough to bare hand these. So I have a glove fetish, guys. I like my gloves. Okay, let's switch to, I think these are 9/16 or 1/2 inch drive. Yeah. These are 3/8 inch stainless steel lags. These are not cheap. If you guys go to Miner, well, where I live, it's called Miner's Ace Hardware. Yeah, these are like $5-6 a pop. If you get the stainless steel, if you don't get the stainless steel and you're doing testing like this, they break all the time. Anyways, so here's a 3/8 inch by 6 stainless steel lag. Let's do a couple of these. Spend big money for this channel, guys, on lag screws. So you can see it's struggling there on the end. I'll be perfectly transparent. Again, no agenda here. I use plywood or OSB because it's consistent. If you're using timber, it's hard to get consistent tests. You get some varied results here and there, and it just confuses things. So I use OSB or, in this case, plywood to really get consistent results and not have the wood or the medium be a factor in performance testing. Side effect of that is this is harder to drive in than just typical like Doug fir or like whatever pine timber you see on other channels, which I also use. I shouldn't say like other channels like that's a bad thing. Just keep that in mind. Okay, well, okay, there it is. If you read the manual, they've got 3 different light flashing error codes. So there's like overcurrent, overheat, and some other one. I had the manual here the other day. Anyway, this one, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, or I think that was 3. So guys, the body of this is not that hot, like I mentioned in the other video. So I'm showing 90, well, hold on. 95 degrees. Let's go to the front housing. Ooh, okay, the front housing is really hot. 150, that actually might be the adapter there. Oh, geez, okay. This thing's a little bit stuck in there. Well, yeah, that's pretty hot, but you can actually touch it. Okay, so yeah, the front housing, the collet there, I don't know if you guys could see it. I'll just read it off. You could believe it if you want. So 150 degrees there. This is 100. The fan is 108. The back's 103. So obviously, I mean, it's just above body temperature. Now, the hydraulic oil in here, maybe it's hotter. I would assume it is, given how hot this is. But okay, we've had a second for that to cool down. Real quick, Westfield Mug, how's it going? Thanks for joining. Zach D's, yeah, maybe a bad unit. Let me pull these out, see what it does. Okay, so now it's saying no. Okay, full trigger here. Let's see the lights flashing here. So I'm in reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. I think it was 3. Just for the heck of it, in forward. I think it was 3. I mean, you guys tell me. Yeah, so just for the record, I ran these little 1/4 inch by 6 stainless steel lags. I ran 4 of them in and out, and then I'm probably losing count, but I think I ran 3 of these little, next size up, 3/8. No, actually these are 5/16 lags. I keep saying 3/8. 3, maybe 4 of those, and then it overheats. And guys, like I said in the video, my other video, short video, normally impact drivers can get really hot. You've seen the thermal cams from some other channels, they're like 140 degrees before they fail. So this one, I haven't seen all of Torque Test Channel's video, like all the details. I kind of skimmed through it. Somebody said in the comments of my last video, something to the effect of like, there's problems with overheating with this, or it gets hot quickly, or it loses performance when it gets hot. That's in the manual. Ridgid calls that out in the manual and says, if it gets hot, you will lose performance. For a second, I started thinking I had a bad battery, and that the battery was actually, doing overcurrent or overheat. It's showing 3 out of 4 bars. So I actually bought this. Sorry, I'm just reading chat here. I bought this pretty cool adapter. I forget who makes it. It's on Amazon, 20 bucks or something like that. It's kind of a stealth adapter. So you can run, just to go crazy here, any DeWalt battery with this. So I've done the testing with a giant battery just to make sure that like this wasn't the problem. Well, let's just go ahead and do it. This has had a few seconds to cool down, or a few minutes to cool down. See if this will drive one in. Maybe it's cooled down enough. Now you could tell, oh, there it goes. It's flashing anyway, right when I stopped it. So you could tell it's losing performance because when this thing's cool, it does, I mean, it does smoke just about everything. I mean, including, you know, I don't know if you guys could see this behind me, but even, you know, it gets close to the Milwaukee Gen 4, not hydraulic, just the full fat fuel impact driver. I think Tools with Souls and Caleb Ross showed that it beat the Flex, I think Gen 1 and Gen 2, at least with the small stuff. So anyway, it's really fast. I have some video ideas for explaining why this is so fast. But the reason I think it's fast is because it acts like a drill driver, like Torque Test Channel said. It's kind of a hybrid. Well, you guys know if you've used a drill driver, they eat through batteries. They eat through batteries because they create a lot of heat. And that's what's going on with this. So it has a ton of power. That power comes with a lot of heat. Looking at chat here, sorry about the breaks here. Somebody said, maybe it's a bad unit. Zach D's 135. Maybe it is a bad unit. My gut tells me it's not. It's just the design of this. And that's not a bad thing because even these lags, I mean, I don't know what, you know, you guys do for a living. You know, if you're a tradesman or if you're using this for home use, most people, unless you're like a framer, you build decks, you build awnings, even this is a little bit big for daily use. You're probably using even these, you know, 6-inch by quarter deck mates. They're a little large. Maybe I'll do a test. I think this will run, you know, probably a box of 50 of these, probably without issue. And then obviously anything smaller, it's probably not going to be an issue. But for performance testing, for these tool channels, doing stuff like this, you know, we kind of push them to the brink. So that's where you're seeing some of these overheat. I could be wrong. Maybe it will overheat. I will do a test with these. I want to see how many of these it'll drive. How many of these this will drive without issue, or if it'll overheat. So anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to do on this test. I was thinking about also doing exactly what I just did with the DCF 870, which I've also obviously bought, wasn't sent to me or anything like that. And then I've got the Surge Gen 2. I have not overheated either of these. I can't say I've done this exact test. I feel like I've done more intensive testing with both of these and they haven't overheated. Typically, they'll just stall out. And then they'll just stall out, and I guess eventually they probably would overheat. But yeah, I think this thing has so much power. If you push it, I don't think it's a physical overheat thing, guys. I think it's kind of like the M12 line of tools. If you guys have M12, they've got logic in them where they're pretty restrictive. You know, they'll, like, especially their drill driver, it will stop you long before the tool is in a, you know, a state where it could damage it. Maybe that's what they're doing here. Because again, if this was as hot as other impact drivers, I couldn't be doing this. I'd have 3rd-degree burns doing that. So it's hot. It's, you know, yeah, I would say it's hot. But if it was any other impact driver, it would keep going. So maybe they just have a cautious cutout on it. It could be the way hydraulic impact drivers work with the oil in them. You don't want that oil getting too hot. Whether or not that degrades the oil or something else, I'm not sure. Maybe some of you guys know, but yeah, it's definitely an electronic or a safety cutoff that's stopping it. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show. Honestly, I didn't know if this was going to go one way or the other. I've seen some of the other tool channels. I just want to say it. Any other tool channel, Tools with Souls, Tool Squatch, Caleb Ross, Pro Tool Reviews. I like all those channels just as much as you guys do. So no hard feelings. I'm happy. I would be happy if I ran a whole box of screws and this didn't overheat. It's, again, none of us are getting paid. I mean, if you're a channel out there, some that I mentioned, and you're getting paid to say that Ridgid's good or Milwaukee sucks or whatever, you know, leave it in the comments. Let me know. I could be wrong about that, but none of us are big enough to be getting paid to say one of these brands sucks. Again, I bought all these. I think all the other channels buy their own tools. So it's really just a matter of testing them. And, you know, we all thought the Gen 2 Surge was going to be good. That was maybe going to blow away the DCF 870. We know that not to be the case. That's just reality. It's not us having an agenda or getting paid. I just actually ironically mentioned I was going to start featuring a lot of Ridgid. I still am. There's a lot of requests for Ridgid. And as you can see, maybe behind me, I've only got a couple Ridgid tools, including this one. So yeah, the Nuke line of tools, really good. They're doing some really cool things with these. Again, despite this overheating, doing performance testing, if you don't have a hydraulic impact driver and you're looking for one, and you're not married to a certain line of tools, this is pretty compelling. It will beat both of these. It will beat both of these with most fasteners. Maybe if on the bleeding edge of size, the 870 might do better. But the fact that this is so quiet, it's so fast, and it has a lifetime service agreement, that's pretty compelling. I would, full disclosure, if I didn't have all these other brands, I'd probably go this if I was a homeowner, or if I didn't have if I wasn't married to a line of tools. So don't get me wrong about what us tool testers do. It's like when people test cars, they do all these 0 to 60 and slalom tests and all this crazy stuff. It doesn't mean that that's what you're going to do on a day-to-day basis. It doesn't mean if you don't do that well, you shouldn't buy it. So just keep that in mind. Okay, off to the comments. There's 33 of you guys. This channel is just blowing up. Yeah, Dan says, I wanted to wait for the Gen 2 Surge. Stealth Force got me. I agree with you there. I kind of think, I don't want to give away my my video ideas here for free for all you creators out there, but I kind of think this should have been the Stealth Gen 2. This should have been the Nuke. Just for instance, for Dan out there and everybody else, look at the size of this. Now, not ironically, incidentally, these weigh about the same, within about an ounce of each other. I thought this weighed a lot more. It doesn't. But this says subcompact on it. Now, if you've seen Milwaukee's tools, they make a subcompact non-fuel impact driver, which is a lot smaller than this. In fact, it's closer to the size of their M12 impact driver. Now, if you look at this, it's not even close. This is not a subcompact tool. You know, the whole Nuke name, small, powerful. It's powerful, it's not small. Now that I haven't seen all the other nuke tools in person, so maybe the nuke name fits, the subcompact name fits with those. But my point is, it's almost as if Milwaukee said, we want this to come out first. We want the Surge 2 to come out. Whereas maybe their R&D, their TTI R&D division said, you know, this is a lot better. Because this is a lot better than this. I will say that. I will definitely agree with that. So anyways, yeah, maybe this was supposed to be the Surge 2 top tier Milwaukee, and then the smaller nuke subcompact was supposed to come out. You know, that's just my own tool nerd stuff coming out. But yeah, it's definitely not small. It's a lot bigger than the DeWalt. It is heavier than the DeWalt. It's bigger than the Surge Gen 2. It is not subcompact, guys. I'll agree with everybody else on how good this is, but it is not a subcompact tool. Even Milwaukee's made their M12 Surge, which is about the same size as this. So, yeah, who knows? Who knows how that works? A lot of people have been saying that, you know, the Milwaukee might kill this because of how it just blows away. I mean, it almost beats their Gen 4 fuel, crazy fast non-hydraulic impact driver. So maybe they'll kill the Surge 2 and come out with a Surge 3. Okay, real quick, going to the comments. Oh, I'm sorry. Dan said he was waiting for the M12's Gen 2 Surge, but this Stealth Force got me. I hear you there. A lot of people love the M12 Surge. Super popular impact driver. So I hear you there. Chilik82, isn't picking a tool platform more than one tool choice? Would you really pick Ridgid over Milwaukee as a tool platform? No, I agree with you there. I wouldn't pick it. So I'm in an interesting position here, as all tool creators are, because we have a dozen tool platforms. We've got to test all the different tools, so it's hard to stick to one tool platform. Now, if you didn't have a tool platform, yeah, I don't know that I would go full Ridgid just because this is so good. Milwaukee's made a great name for themselves. So I'll leave that up to you guys. I'm not going to make a strong opinion on that because we're biased. We have, you know, again, a dozen different tool platforms we've got to test. Looks like Scott Bowman says, I think Milwaukee is turning into the Snap-on of the trade world. Personally, get into their ecosystem, but if you want, it gets pricey quick. Yeah, I do think that's a little bit true with any tool platform. I'll say this though, in agreement with that comment, I see a lot more deals, because obviously I try to post a lot of deals for you guys for DeWalt. For me, it's harder to find like really good deals for Milwaukee tools. So like Snap-on, you don't really find a lot of good deals for Snap-on tools. You're buying the name, you're paying for the name. So maybe there is some truth to that, Scott. What's up, Bayou Builds? Good to see you here. Thanks for commenting. I'm trying to read the username. It's not as easy as it seems. So somebody said, or Youngo Yard says, Flex should come out with one. I totally agree with you guys. So the Flex Gen 1 impact driver, it will drill a fastener longer than other impact drivers before it starts to impact. So it kind of has that same effect as the Stealth Force, where it kind of acts like a drill. So when this came out, I started thinking, you know what, Flex is halfway there. they've got the whole like half drill, half impact driver thing going. So yeah, totally. If Ridgid can make something this good, not that Ridgid's bad, you know, they both used to have lifetime warranty until Flex killed theirs. I got a pile of impact drivers. Flex should totally come out with one. That, I feel like, I'm a big Flex believer. I have a lot of Flex tools. Yeah, that could be something that could kind of like change the game, as everyone says, for them. Because we've seen what this has done in the last few weeks, and you know, rightly so. I hope they do. I hope more companies come out with it, because we have reached, I will say, doing all these tests, we've reached the point where the 1/4 inch, call it the 1/4 inch adapter or bit, it can't take a lot more power. I mean, even this 5 years, 6 years old, it'll just snap things like crazy. So this doesn't have a lot of torque. This is where I think we should go. It's so quiet. It's true. Even more than the power and the speed, it's so quiet. It's quieter than any hydraulic. Flex should come out with one. Yeah, everyone should come out with one. Totally agree. Yeah, a couple others say that. What tool is best for removing a cylinder stuck inside of a tube without damaging the cylinder? Okay, Macrolore, I think I understand what you're saying. There's probably a lot of answers for that. I don't know. That's outside of my wheelhouse. I don't I don't do stuff like that. If I do stuff like that, it's going to be damaging the cylinder. So maybe someone else, someone laughed at his comment. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm a little slow to get that. Yeah, let's see. The Basher says lifetime service agreement, not lifetime warranty. Good luck claiming the Ridgid LSA though. Maybe someone out there could comment on that. Like I said, Ridgid, I probably own the least amount of Ridgid tools. My Ridgid tools have been limited to vacuums primarily. I do have a couple of drill drivers from them. Anyways, so what is the Basher 05 talking about? Is it hard to claim the not warranty lifetime service agreement on that? I will say with Flex, best tool warranty I have ever encountered. It's almost no questions asked. You have a problem, you have a failed tool, a failed battery. I think if you live within a certain area of like their service centers or something like that, they'll ask you to bring it in, or I guess send it in. If you don't, in my experience, because I live in a weird area, they'll just send you a new tool. You just, you know, my impact driver blew up, stopped working, the battery's flashing, whatever. They'll just send you a new battery, new tool. Not a lot of hassle with it. So my understanding was you could take this to any Home Depot and they'll replace it. I'm a little bit ignorant there, I'll say. So I'm curious to see if anyone says so. Yeah, if you know anything about that, if you've had a problem with Ridgid, leave it down in the comments and we'll talk about it. So Scott says, I have heard people say that the hydraulic impacts can be tricky to switch because of the sound. Easy to break small fasteners because you can't hear the impacts as much. Scott, I haven't run into that. So I have done a lot of testing with these two. I haven't, you know, this is new. But with these two, I don't think I've ever broken a fastener with these, at least in testing. I don't think I've ever broken a bit with these, and maybe a 1/2-inch socket adapter. So the idea there from Scott is you don't, you know, obviously you hear pretty loud and clear with these. With the hydraulics, you don't. But I'm not in the field like you guys are. So maybe there's some truth to that. Yeah, he says, you don't realize how much you listen to the pounding till it's gone. I think one thing with these, though, is, we're talking under 100 foot-pounds of torque with this. A lot, more like 50 to 70. With these, with the, Flex, Milwaukee, the DCF 860, you're up in the 200 to 220s. So a lot more torque on these. Going back to Ridgid, Youngo Yard says, one time I serviced a 5-amp battery. They sent me a 10. Oh, okay. I think this is with Flex. One time I serviced a 5-amp hour battery. They sent me a 10 amp hour stacked lithium. So I haven't been that lucky, but yeah, I don't have, well, I have a 5-amp hour battery. 5-amp hour batteries from Flex are just their standard, not stacked lithium. They're still pretty good. But if you got one of these in replacement for one of those, that's a score. Because this is like $350 retail. And the 5-amp hours, they're just like giving away with their tools. So yeah, Flex, I almost don't want to say it because their warranty is so good. Everything comes to an end. If you're on the Flex line, their warranty rocks. I have zero bad experiences with their warranty. So keep that in mind. You have to buy Flex online now, most places, so there is some drawbacks, but their warranty really rocks. Some people are asking, oh, what's up, Joseph? What happened to Heart Tools from Walmart? Okay, this is just my own speculation. No evidence at all, so probably wrong on this. Heart Tools weren't that cheap at Walmart. I don't know if you guys noticed that. It wasn't like hyper tough. In my recollection, they're more expensive, or they were more expensive even than Greenworks, which is like the new top tier line at Walmart. Their tools weren't cheap. I would go in there, it's like, well, I'll just go to Home Depot and get like Ridgid or Milwaukee for that price. So I don't know. I kind of wonder how well they sold at Walmart. Definitely, I think Greenworks is a much better buy than Hart. So I think Walmart did something good there. Again, just one guy's opinion there. Dan says they couldn't compete with Amazon. That's probably true. Amazon has a dime a dozen brands that can compete pretty well. So why go to Walmart and pay a premium for Hart just because they're, made by TTI? Let's see. I like this one. So SpongeBob says, what do you think of the Skill flip drill just for tiny stuff? Hang on a sec. Well, what do you know, SpongeBob? I've got the Skill flip drill. So I bought this, I think, during the holidays, last 2025 Christmas season, because this was like $30 or something like that. I'll be honest, when you've got like 10 or 15 drills, this isn't the first I reach for. But if you want to have something that you use at home, like, hanging pictures, fixing cabinets and stuff like that, it's got plenty of torque for that. Interestingly, I'll try to highlight this. Hopefully you can see that. This will use a 12 volt or a 20 volt Skill battery, which is kind of cool. And you do get you get noticeably more power if you run a 20 volt Skill battery on. That's really cool. Yes, I wish you've seen me overvolt this. I wish Milwaukee would do that. But not to get too far off topic. If you get this, or if you have it, if you could get this for a low price, or you have it, this is like an installation driver from Milwaukee, which isn't cheap. So yeah, if the idea behind it is you have a drill bit in there, you have a bit in there, so you could just flip, pre-drill, drive your screw in, drive your faster in. Pretty lightweight. So if you can find it for cheap, if it's still out there, it's not bad. Incidentally, I want to be careful what I say because I want to follow through, but I thought about doing a giveaway on this. I know there's a lot of skill fans out there, so stay tuned for that, because if you just tune in, today is the 1-year anniversary of Drew Does Tools. I will be making good on some giveaways, and by that I mean a while back I mentioned this Flex 3/4 inch, no joke, serious business impact wrench. I will be giving this away. I want to make sure I do it right. There's a bunch of rules. Like, it's hard to give away stuff on YouTube. You have to be careful that it's fair. If you just want to give away something, there's rules on it. You could get into legal trouble if you don't do it the right way. So anyways, that's kind of been the holdup. So maybe this will be the first 1-year giveaway. So thanks for all the support. I will have details on that. I will say on live video, it'll be in this next week, how you can be eligible. It's probably just going to be me posting a video and say, hey, if you comment or you send me an email, you'll be entered into a drawing definitely for this. So got off topic for you there. Hopefully answered the question on this. Yes, I like it. Yes, it makes sense. Don't pay a premium for it. What's up, Sayer Turner? Good to see you here. There's a lot of people who have supported the channel for a long time. So shout outs to you guys. If you haven't seen Sayer's channel, go check him out. As I've mentioned before, I come from a family of tradesmen, grandfather, great-grandfather. I'm not a tradesman. I jettisoned that idea in my 20s. Didn't want to do what my dad was doing. But guys like Sayer have a lot of experience on everything. So if you're looking for that and you're not just looking for tool reviews, go check out guys like him, because there's a lot of value in that if you're not just looking for like tool performance and stuff. Let's see. Yeah, so Scott says he wants to trick out one of his trailers with a Flex stack pack system wall mount. Okay, that's pretty legit. In the last year or two, pack out was getting super popular. Like, if you look in Reddit and different places, people were really into that. I actually have a split of Flex stack pack and Milwaukee pack out gear. It's hard for me to pick. They both have really good pros and cons to them. But if you have a work trailer and you do either of those, I'm jealous of the guys that have like tool trailers that are just outfitted with that stuff. Given where Flex is at, I would probably go with Milwaukee. They have everything covered, but some of Flex's stuff is like their drawer systems, I think are better made. Let's see, just checking some comments. I don't want to miss anybody. Somebody said electric bolt cutters. Not sure what the question is. Maybe follow up there. Maybe that's a tool idea. So Josh West just commented. He says, I was a DeWalt guy, but I realized Milwaukee may have a more complete battery platform. So I'm switching. Expensive as hell though. So I kind of have to disagree with you there, Josh. So if you haven't switched yet, you know, maybe consider my opinion. So the one thing that I say over and over again, and as I've said, it's not only my idea, but Milwaukee, they don't make, everyone's switching or producing their high-end tablets, or in this case, pouch cell batteries. This is the smallest pouch cell battery that Milwaukee makes, or tabless battery, their Forge line. They don't make anything smaller. So if you want a smaller battery, because you're running this all day, and you want a little 2 amp, or 3 or 4 amp, you've got batteries that they've made, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. So not that those are terrible, but if you're paying that premium that you mentioned, you might want a newer technology battery. Now, DeWalt, on the other hand, they make a little 1.7 battery. They make a 3.5 battery. Over on the charger, I've got a 4.0 battery. They make a 5.0 battery, and then they jump up to a 8.0 battery. And what I'm talking about is their high-end tabless, high-performance batteries. This little guy will run this giant DCF 964 and run that big Godzilla lag that I always show on my channel on this tiny little battery. Now, it won't do it over and over again, but the point is, DeWalt, I think any of you guys should agree, they have the more complete battery lineup. They just came out with their tabless flex volt battery, 60 volt and 20 volt. So I don't know what the hold up is on Milwaukee with their small tabless or pouch cell batteries. Maybe they're imminent. I've heard people say they're coming out, but I would definitely say DeWalt has the most complete lineup of batteries. For sure, no question there. Is that enough of a reason to switch platforms? You know, that's up to you. Depends on what your trade is. Let's see. Dan the Fisherman says Flex has a new track lock system, looks compatible with the stack pack system. I think that is true. I haven't seen it in person because it was right around the time they left Lowe's, but they do have I guess it's their track lock system. So it's like garage hangers and different ways to organize. So that's pretty cool. I hope Flex. This is a bit of a pipe dream, but I hope Flex finds a retailer, and I guess it's not going to be Lowe's, so it's going to be Home Depot. Around me, it's Ace Hardware. There's not a lot of other big retailers where they might end up, but they need to be in a big box store. So maybe they kick Makita out of Home Depot and they land there. I don't know, but it seems like they're still developing. It's hard to compete when you're online only. But some of their stack pack, I guess I forgot about their track lock system. That's they're doing cool stuff there. Yeah, Acme Tools sells it. Let me say one thing about Acme Tools. I am not sponsored by Acme Tools. In fact, I didn't really buy from Acme Tools until I started this channel, and the reason for that is somehow they seem to get, if you're into tools, you're a tool nerd, you're watching this, they somehow get tools way before Home Depot, way before Lowe's, whatever. They've got some kind of insider connection. So if you're like wanting to get tools right away, you're into that, Acme Tools seems to be a good place to go. I haven't bought from Ohio Power Tool. I think they're kind of in that same boat. They get stuff right away. But if you see me like posting Acme Tools links, you know, that's the reason why they get it, you know, pretty quick somehow. So let's see, I'm just reading some comments here. What do you think of Flex getting into more automotive stuff like ratchets? Okay, here's my rub with Flex. I own a ton of Flex. I have spent a lot of money on Flex tools. For some reason, it's almost as if they do an anti-publicity strategy with their tools. What I mean by that is, you know, DeWalt will let people know, hey, this is coming out. Here's World of Concrete. Check out all of our tools. Milwaukee does the same thing. Makita even does the same thing. Flex, if you go to their website, if you talk to their PR, if you're on Facebook where they have a big group, it's like they don't want to say anything about any of their tools. Like somebody says, hey, I heard this new ratchet's coming out. They won't say anything about it. Oh, stay tuned for our, you know, stay tuned and for our channel and you know, see what's coming next. It's like they don't want to tell people. They don't want to get people excited about it. I don't know why that is, because to me, it seems like the opposite of what you'd want to do. So the reason I mentioned that for the ratchet question is I have no idea if they're coming out with more automotive tools. The closest automotive tools I've seen are detailing tools. They're really good in the detailing space. They have a lot of good polishers, both corded and cordless. So yeah, unless I've missed something recent, I haven't seen anything from Flex. In fact, sometimes I'll see reviews from like the bigger channels, and it's like, oh, I didn't even know that Flex was coming out with that. Like they just came out with a belt sander and a detail sander. I didn't know they were coming out with that until I saw it, I think, on Pro Tool Reviews. So I think they should. They're kind of in, like I said, with detailing, they're already half in that space. They're missing that. Yeah, they really don't have any true automotive tools other than maybe you could say like their smaller impact wrenches. But it's definitely a space where they could expand, especially if they, you know, if they do go to a 10 volt, 12 volt, small, you know, maybe even 18 volt line of tools. Yeah, so Scott says Ohio Power Tool, they're kind of in the same boat. They ship right away. Via Lowbro, I like that name, says DCF 840 with the 1.7 power stack is an elite combo for power. What are your thoughts? So, I've got a one up on you there, bud. So I've got the 845, which is basically the same as the 840. Yeah, this is a subcompact. If you saw earlier, we're talking about, you know, what is and what's not a subcompact. This, so I have a young 8-year-old son. This is his favorite impact driver just because he's a huge DeWalt fan. Anyways, despite that, yeah, that's a good combo. Let's see. Here's an M12. I've got the smaller battery on there, but yeah, that's a legit combo. If on us the tool channels, we drive these huge lags and stuff. If you're not doing that, which you're probably not doing that, yeah, that's a pretty compelling. And this right here with this battery is way more capable than the little M12. So I agree with you there. You know, little hidden gem. This doesn't get much, much publicity nowadays. 845 or the 840. But I got this at Ace Hardware for 69 bucks a couple years ago. So yeah, that's a win there. Josh West says, do you recommend a specific cordless miter saw or just stick with your battery platform? If you're getting a miter saw, I would for me, I don't have a miter saw, but I would stick with your battery platform, especially if you got multiple tools, because a miter saw, someone correct me if you feel differently or have a different opinion, but I wouldn't switch platforms just for a miter saw. Now, if I was buying a cordless or a corded miter saw, for sure, because then batteries don't matter. And if a certain platform makes a better miter saw, just get that, because that's a pretty specialized tool and you're going to chew through batteries quick with a miter saw. So if you're getting one for the odd job where you don't have power, it's nice to have a battery powered miter saw. Now, I will say, exactly what I was going to say. SpongeBob, Flex does have their corded adapter, so you can run a few cordless or battery powered tools with an AC adapter. So Flex makes that. I think it's $200. But one of their main tools they say is compatible is their miter saw. So I'd say that's pretty compelling. If you're on the Flex line, for sure, you can run corded or battery power. I just saw a comment. I think DeWalt makes an adapter too. I don't know if Milwaukee makes an adapter. Metabo makes an adapter, AC adapter, so you could run these miter saws on AC power. So I'll go ahead and say it. Jagbir Singh says, "What's your thoughts on herpes?" No comment there. Maybe someone else can answer that for me. But thanks anyway. Matthew Grajeda says, "Hey Drew, what's the best impact gun for working on cars?" That's a little bit controversial. I mean, for sure, I'll go to the default answer here. Nowadays, M12 stubby. You kind of have to. So I'm in my 40s. The reason I mention that is if you're 40 or older, this used to be light duty work. Nowadays, this will do mid torque, not quite high torque, but this will easily do mid torque work. And it's a 12 volt tool, right? So this will take off lug nuts. This will take off pickup truck lug nuts. This will do a lot of suspension work. This will do a lot of rusty, cruddy, corroded suspension work. So this will do a lot. Like if you're a DIY weekend warrior, for sure, I would go M12 Gen 2 stubby. I've got a couple mid torques. They're kind of no one loves them, but they do a lot. So yeah, I'll just keep it simple. M12 stubby, I would go with this. If you're on the DeWalt platform, very similar, a little bit bigger. I almost don't want to say this to incite anyone to rage, but this won't overheat quite as quickly as this if you really, really push it. Flex makes their compact very similar to this. It's actually more powerful than this. I would say it's about on par with this. So yeah, if you're in a professional shop and you don't have air, yeah, you're probably going to have a high torque, a mid torque, and all the others. So, but if you're like me, you do all your own car maintenance and stuff, I would go with this guy right here. It'll get pretty much everything done. Yeah, Sarah said it. 80% of jobs can be done with the M12. So probably if this isn't getting the job done, you're probably moving to a high torque. Let's see, what's up, Wyatt? Nice to have you here. So Matthew says, I can't believe you pronounced my last name. So I don't know if you guys know where I live, but I grew up in the Central Valley, California, Fresno, Visalia. Believe it or not, my grandparents actually are from Mexico. I probably don't look it, but so I'm familiar with the Hispanic last names. So welcome, wherever you're from. What's up, Keith Brewer? Woodcraft Sayer sent me to say hi. I'll slip Sayer a 20 here when this live stream's over. I'll try to say your name here, Duabit. Love to see you live. Glad to catch your stream. You know, I don't do these a lot, but yeah, I've literally done one, I think, in a year of this channel. So, but it's cool to connect with you guys, not just on comments, in person. Can kind of answer questions more quickly here. Wyatt says maybe Mr. Singh is infected. Maybe so. I'm not a doctor. My opinion on herpes is hopefully you can avoid that. Do I watch any of, I call him Ave or AVE. Do I watch any of his videos? Limited videos. I'll be honest. He posts high quality, like, you know, long form videos and stuff. So they're not as common as like it's easy to make a short. All my videos are shorts. They're you know, easier to make. So I'm not as familiar with them. But yeah, if you don't watch, check him out. There's just like some really old, not old school, but they've been around for a while, high quality channels. That's one of them. Yeah. Oh yeah, okay. So somebody mentions the Milwaukee lunchbox. Yeah, I saw that just before I was gone for a while, for a week. You know, Makita, they have their microwave. They make a few, I guess you could call them tool guy appliances. So Milwaukee's gonna sell it. You know, people are gonna laugh at it, make fun of people about it, and then they're gonna go buy it. So you got a warm lunch, especially if you live in a cold climate. I can't fault Milwaukee for coming out with that. I didn't see it coming. I didn't hear anything about it. It was like, hey, we have a hot, you know, a lunchbox warmer thing. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I have an electrician friend. I don't know if he bought the Makita microwave because it's pricey. Obviously, all Makita stuff's pricey, but until other brands start coming out with stuff like that, I mean, hey, Makita's got one over on somebody. Wyatt says, why no subscribe button? This is a second live stream that I've done. I don't know what I'm doing here. If you find it in your heart to find a subscribe button, go ahead and click that subscribe. I would appreciate it. But I'll see if I can get that figured out for the next one. John, help me with your last name here. Kate So says happy or 1 year anniversary. Yeah, thanks a lot for that. Come a long way. I laugh at my earlier videos, but everybody starts somewhere. So appreciate that. Yeah, Ave and Bolter are legends for sure. Somebody asked, I got Bauer brushed heated boxers. Yeah, you got to go with the brushless, man. Those brushed ones get too hot. They go through a lot of battery. Makita scarf for sure. Somebody asked, Arturo Hernandez, is it Drew or Andrew? It's just Drew. Thank my parents or talk to my parents about that one. Yeah, I did have a lot of fun on vacation. I don't know if, maybe let me know in the comments, if any of you guys are into like camping, outdoors, hunting, shooting, backpacking, fishing, any of that stuff. I figure, you know, a chunk of you guys are. It's kind of like the opposite of all this tool stuff. But yeah, I took my son on a trip, went with a few others. If any of you guys know about the John Muir Trail in California, it's like a couple 100 miles. My wife and I hiked that before we had kids, 10 years ago. So I love the outdoors. I haven't done, I'm not a big hunter. I love fishing. I love hiking, outdoors, camping, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, it's fun to get out there and get away for a bit. So, yeah, appreciate that. Okay, I gotta see this. Milwaukee baby pacifier. Some of these are good ideas. I'd be careful here. Some of these, you might be able to make some money on. M12 baby pacifier, M12 spoon maybe. Okay, I like this one. So I think maybe you're Italian. I probably shouldn't even try to guess. Antoni Beretta says, what is your opinion on Makita battery technology? So a while back I did a video, I think it was a drill test video on a bunch of drills. And the thing, I don't know why I'm coughing, I never cough. But Makita is they're still old school. So just for instance, I mean, not that you should be able to tell just looking at them, but like their batteries, they're like identical. Like is the teal one better than the gray one? I would think maybe the teal one's better. But the point is they just make incremental changes. Now, this is tabless, this is not tabless. They're kind of new to the tabless game. I don't know how a couple years ago they came out with tabless batteries. They're just let me backpedal a little bit. I like Makita more than most people do, or at least on like social media. People bash on Makita big time. They're expensive. They're not bleeding edge. You compare their tools and they're like slower or less powerful than like anything else. So it's easy to sort of like hate on Makita. They're this is kind of old school, but they're super repairable. They're field repairable. You could send them in. They'll rarely like just replace a tool because something broke on it. As far as their batteries, they're a bit behind. Again, they're just coming out with their tablets. They're super limited. I think they have this 4 amp hour. They just came out with this like giant 8 amp hour, but it's 40 volts. So it's like a 16 amp hour tabless battery. And it's like $600, which is insane. So you'd have to be a super Makita fanboy to go with that. Someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. They don't have any tabless batteries on their 18 volt line. So they're, I don't know what that's about. I get their philosophy. They're probably thinking, well, if you're on their 18 volt line, you don't need a lot of power. So why are you going to have a tabless battery? We're going to reserve that for their XGT 40 volt line. Obviously, every other brand has proven that to not be the case. You get a lot of benefit from a tabless or pouch cell. So yeah, I would just say it doesn't surprise me because Makita is Makita. They have their philosophy. They're sticking to it. They have their base of consumers. I don't think they're going to be growing like crazy. I will say I do respect Makita for that. for that, but it just they're in a different philosophy than everybody else. So yeah. Hopefully that changes. To answer your question, they really need to come out with tabless batteries for their non-XGT tools. That'll kind of bump things up because a tabless battery pretty much bumps up every tool's performance, and you might get some more consumers out of that. Let's see. Going back a little bit. So Dan says, I was in the mountains today scouting for elk. I did run into a moose. I was with my dad and brother. I think we need to know a little more about that story. He says he's in North Idaho. So the people I went backpacking with, a few of them are from Boise. So they have lots of hunting stories. They have lots of moose stories from being actually in Montana and in Idaho. So that's pretty cool. I kind of envy that a little. I'm in the central coast of California. So we have lots of deer, coyotes, rattlesnakes, hawks, nothing big. SpongeBob asked me if I have a Leatherman. So I do. I have a little bitty, if I could find it, I forget the model number, but I take it backpacking because it's small and light. This trip, I couldn't find that. So I have again, I'm not good with Leatherman model numbers, but just a bigger, real basic Leatherman. I should probably get, more familiar on that for you guys. Always good to have. Keep it lightweight so you're not hucking around a big heavy pack and not having a good time. So Arturo says, how does a M18 mid torque with 900 breakaway sound? They accidentally listed them on on Home Depot. I didn't see that. Did any of you guys see that? So evidently according to Arturo, there's a new mid torque with 900 breakaway. That's pretty insane because the best mid torque that I know of is the DeWalt 892, 891, which is like far and away the best until Bosch came out with their mid torque. I don't know the model number, but it was like up there. Besides that, and those make like 800, I think, are rated for 800. The Flex, if you guys got this last Christmas season, I don't know, people got this for like $50 or like $70 or something. I bought this when it was on sale for like $150 or $200, and I was like, oh, I got a deal on that. Anyway, this is like 700 foot-pounds, so it's behind the DeWalt and the Bosch for sure. But yeah, it's a great deal if you got a deal on it. But an M18 mid-torque, I have not heard about that. So someone, Anthony says that was listed on Home Depot. 900 breakaway is insane for a mid-torque. Again, like I was saying, going back 20 years ago, that's big boy impact. That's not mid-torque for sure. So I'll have to look that up. He says it's accidentally listed. I'm guessing they delisted it. Yeah, Flex mid torque. I don't have any Bosch tools. There's only so many platforms that I have gotten into. Maybe in this next year that'll change, because as I mentioned, full transparency, I buy all my tools. Nothing's got sent to me, anything like that, to where I can test them, even just to test them. So, but besides Ridgid, yeah, I get a lot of requests for Bosch, a lot of requests for, relatively a lot of requests for Metabo, especially with those right angle drills. And, well, yeah, I already mentioned Ridgid, but yeah, Metabo and Bosch. There's some fans out there. So I was at where I live, Miners, which is also Ace Hardware. They do this 20% off sale like once or every couple months. So I'll go in there. Yeah, Sayer talks about the Metabo mid torque. Okay, 800 foot-pounds. I didn't know that. I was thinking Bosch, which Torque Test Channel tested. I'm not familiar with their HPT mid torque. But yeah, Ace Hardware, they're one of the few places that carry Makita XGT. People have been requesting their right angle drill to go up against the Flex. If you guys could see that. They want, I think it comes with a battery. They want $800 for that thing. So that's really steep. That's really steep. The right angle drill, okay, so I don't think I mentioned this before. All the right angle drills, so I'm not a plumber, I'm not an electrician. I don't have a use for this. You know, I don't have a good use for this. So I worked out a coordinated borrowing right angle drills from another channel, Muscle Tools. Great guy, Nick over at Muscle Tools. If you guys have seen him, if you haven't, definitely go check him out. He's starting up. He let me borrow his DCD 470, the big DeWalt 60 volt. I have a couple of plumber buddies. They let me borrow their Milwaukee Super Hog and just their regular whole hog. Another friend let me borrow their Flex right angle drill. So I liked it. So I had to send all their stuff back or give all their stuff back. I like the Flex so much. It's so crazy. I bought one. So this is pretty much brand new. It's not $800, but it's small and it's so I do have a right angle drill, but the point is there's still a bunch, Metabo, Makita. I don't know if Bosch makes one. I feel like someone mentioned they wanted to see a Bosch, but I'm not too sure on that. Someone actually mentioned Hercules. I think Hercules makes the smaller, like whole hog size, not the big super hog size drill. But anyway, it's hard to coordinate those because they're just so much money. I'd be in for like $3,000 just to do a roundup on those. But I did get the Flex. I didn't get the lifetime warranty. I think it's the 5-year, but still, I don't know. I will be releasing a video in the next week. Before I had to send them back, I did do a sort of an earth auger test. So if you need to drill post holes or you're doing gardening and you got, plant some bigger trees or shrubs, they're pretty capable. The right angle drills are pretty capable for that. So it's kind of funny. On Amazon, you could get like a 30-inch by like 4-inch auger for like $30 and go to town with it. Again, if you haven't seen Nick, he and I talk all the time. I actually, guilty plug here or whatever, I encouraged him to start his channel a while back. Muscle Tools is his channel now. He has a bunch of crazy tools. For not a huge channel, he has like 1-inch Milwaukee impact wrenches and stuff. He does like crazy stuff with them. So check him out. Sayer knows him. Yeah, okay, if you do check him out, ask him where his baby bed build is, because he was supposed to build that a while ago and I haven't seen it. Sayer Turner hasn't seen it. So yeah, light the fire under Nick over at Muscle Tools. Let's see. I don't want to miss anybody. Yeah, Metabo. Okay, I want to get into Metabo. I've almost pulled the trigger on Metabo a bunch of times. Lowe's sometimes has, so I try to get everything on deals, so I'm not going totally bankrupt here. But Metabo sometimes at Lowe's has good deals, like especially on their batteries or tabless batteries. I just haven't lined it all up yet. But obviously the triple hammer, everyone knows a triple hammer, even if it's not the most powerful. Their rear handle saw, from what I know, I haven't used it, it's pretty insane. A lot of people talk about their right angle drill. Of course, their drill driver, to me, they remind me of Flex a little. Like, they don't have a huge library of tools, but they've got some really good, like, banger tools. So I'm again, a little bit of a plug here. If you got any of these like specialized tools and it's not going to like hurt your business or your day-to-day, you want to send them to the channel, I'm open to that. Don't do it if you know, it's like something you use every day. But if it's just something sitting there, and you want to, I'll give you a shout out on the channel. I'll mention you if you have a channel or a business website. I'm happy to give you a shout out, because you know, there's only so many things I could do. So keep that in mind. Somebody mentioned about this guy up here. So this is the older, this isn't like the brand, this is actually, I think, because Milwaukee just came out with their like one, whatever they call it, one touch, one key rear handle circular saw. This, as you may be able to tell by the initials, is not mine. So the same friend of mine that let me borrow his Super Hog originally let me borrow this. So I've actually got this ready for a comparison with the DeWalt 60 volt Sidewinder, not rear handle. I know it's not the rear handle, but that thing's like 350 bucks. But I'm getting so off topic here. Home Depot has a deal right now. I just saw it yesterday where I think you buy like a 9 amp flex volt and you can get their rear handle 60 volt for quote unquote free. So if you return the battery, you could get the saw for like under 200 bucks. I paid 200 for this. So, yeah, so this is the reason I bring this up. This is a tabless battery, finally, 12 amp. I've got a Milwaukee 12 amp tabless battery. I've got the Flex rear handle saw with a 10 amp battery, 10 amp stacked lithium. So that would be a heck of a test. I mean, if you are a framer, if you're a legit framer and you need a rear handle saw, a Sidewinder is not going to cut it. I'll try to make that happen. But so I've used this a little bit. I still think the Flex rear handle saw, I haven't used the DeWalt. I hear the DeWalt, even though this is supposed to use the same motor, same power as the rear handle, people say the rear handle's got more power, so I'll take your word for it. But I think the Flex has this one covered a little bit. Not that this one, I mean, look at this thing. This is not a little boy saw here. But I think the Flex takes it. The Flex makes, their saws are so good. But I would say this is a 2830-20. This looks like it's a 2021 model, so it's a few years old. But this will get the job done. Put on a new blade on this. I mean, this is insane. This is a crazy good saw. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. I like it. It's not mine, so I haven't used it extensively as much as the Flex, but yeah, it'll do the job. Put these off to the side here. So yeah, Metaba's more for nailers. I'll take your word for that. Some of their new nailers, again, just from what I've seen, they're pretty crazy. They've got that new, I think Caleb Ross showed it a while back. It was like, they've got some new tech coming out in their nailers. I think he's like sponsored by them. He's like in commercials and stuff, man. Big time, Caleb, but that's good. Every cut with the guard down. Yeah, I think I did see that video, Sarah. Is Ridgid the best bang for your buck right now? I can't say. I don't have enough of their tools. Going back to where this video started, under this pile of tools here. This thing's still hot. This thing, oh, it's warm. I don't know how long this live stream's been going, but I showed how this overheated again after I cooled it like with a fan for like 30 minutes till it was 70 degrees. I hate saying that, but I want to be transparent. This is really good. I would say if you do not have an impact driver, you're getting into tools, you're not on a platform, or you're not married to a platform, get this. I would get this because it's quiet. So you eliminate the whole issue with, you see me and everybody wearing earplugs all the time. You pretty much don't need earplugs for this. It's super fast. If you're not driving big ol' 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch lags all the time, this will do it. If you're not using it all day or abusing it, you probably won't run into the overheat problem. I need to do some more testing on that because I don't want to. I think it overheats. I've overheated it twice running less than 10 lag screws. So I know you're asking about Ridgid in general. Again, lifetime service agreement. If that is what they say it is, that's pretty good. The Ridgid nuke, they did great. They did great. They really knocked it out of the park with their nuke line of tools. If you're a tradesman, you're probably going to be on a different platform. You don't see a lot of Ridgid out there like you do with Milwaukee and DeWalt. But if that's not you, I think you'll be plenty pleased with Ridgid. Ooh, what's this, Mr. Sayer? Oh, put in the freezer. I've thought about that, Dan. I've actually thought of this is way down the tool nerd rabbit hole, but yeah, like putting stuff in the freezer and like doing stuff like that, or leaving it out in the sun. I used to live in an area that all summer long it's like 110 degrees. Just like leaving it out all day and seeing how it does, like real world. That's funny. Sarah says, rumor is the new nuke is not an impact, it's a pulse drill. The mechanism inside is the same as a pulse drill, not an impact, and that's where the issue comes from. I don't know. It's definitely different. It's a bit chunky. My thought on this is, like I made that video a while back explaining why you saw like this would, the 870 would win and then the Surge 2 would win and back and forth, and people were like calling each other liars. And I was showing how everybody's right. Everybody gets a trophy because it's really just kind of how these are made. Lower IPM, higher IPM, that sort of thing. Smaller hits versus bigger hits. Now this, I think, has really big hits compared to this. And it makes sense because this is lower IPM, lower RPM by quite a bit. So my thought on this and why it overheats is you've got all this oil moving around, all this hydraulic fluid moving around instead of the, like the true hammer and anvil on these. So anytime you've got movement like that, especially with the fluid, you're going to heat it up. Think of if you're into cars, like a torque converter. Anytime that locks up, you're getting, anytime it spins, you're getting a lot of heat. And I think it's the same with this because this is a big old chonker of a thing. So the other part of that is, again, I think I mentioned this a little bit ago. With a drill, you get a lot of heat. It's constant torque. The motor's just going full bore. So you get a lot of power, but you're building up a lot of heat. You're using a lot of battery, you're creating a lot of heat. If this really is like a hybrid, impact drivers are known for being really efficient. You know, they use a lot less battery than a drill driver. If this is going more in the way of a drill driver, you're going to get a lot more heat. I think, I haven't tested this, I think you're going to chew through batteries more with this than you would with just say the 870 or a normal impact driver. So if you got a channel out there and you want to test that before I do, test it out, because I'll probably give it a shot as well. But I guess what I'm saying is I think Sayer's probably correct on what he's saying. Now, I don't totally understand what he's saying. He says it's a pulse drill. It's not an impact, it's a pulse drill. So when I think pulse drill, I just think of the way the hydraulic impact mechanism works versus a traditional impact mechanism. But I'll take your word for it. I think there's something funny. I think someone needs to do a dissection on this and really, you know, see if it's a lot different than the surge, if it's just a bigger mechanism, or if it's some other thing that they're doing here. They're doing something right though. This is not a bad thing. Even if this overheats, this is not a bad thing. Most people, it's like when I did the stubby overheat video and people lost their mind on it. I test tools to the breaking point, right? You want to see like, how far can I take this? What can I expect? I think that's the same with this. Like some of the other channels test this and it's fine. That's probably more in line with like real world stuff. Like normally I'll test stuff and, you know, like I started the whole Godzilla lag thing. Like nobody uses that. Nobody uses anything half as big as that lag screw. It's just, it's YouTube. So anyway, I'm rambling here. So I do want to see what Sayer said about that. The nuke. The nuke it's working like a drill with a hydraulic clutch. Oh, I do want to mention that. Thank you for bringing that up. So drills, they have a side handle because nowadays they try to rip your arm off. They make that constant torque. You got to be careful. Even a big impact wrench, you can one hand this. Even my kids, well, maybe not this one, but the mid torque or compact, even though they make 500 foot-pounds of torque, you could, you know, your kid could do it. You could one-hand it and not worry about it. Now this, I've noticed, it'll put a torque on your wrist, even though this only makes, what was it, less than 50 foot-pounds of torque, way less than like this flex. And you could just one-hand this just like that. So this does definitely act like a drill. It's not like you got to hold it with two hands, but you can feel the torque just like you can a drill. So it's got that inertia where each pulse is bigger, whereas a traditional impact is just these little tiny hits. So that's definitely true. Somebody asked, Antonio, when are you going to do a giveaway? So I mentioned a little bit ago, this whole 1 year thing. A while back, I did say I was going to give away this Flex 3/4 inch impact wrench, high torque, mega torque guy. So let's say in the next, by Friday, I'll just say by Friday. What's today? It's like Sunday. Don't have my watch. What I'm going to do, just to make it simple, not like crazy, it's probably going to be a short video. I'll just say, I'm giving this away. Comment on the video. There goes my mic. Comment on the video and you're entered to win. I think due to all the stupid regulations by YouTube, like I also have to say you can email me if you want instead, so that you don't have to comment on the video, because I live in California and people want to sue. So anyways, I'm going to do that in the next week. So probably subscribe if you're not subscribed, if you want to see that. And I'll do like a 24-hour thing and random drawing kind of thing. And I will send this to you. If you're in the United States, I will send it to you. I'll pay shipping. If you're international, because I have seen some of the analytics, there are a lot of people international that watch the channel. I'll work with you on shipping that, because I have no idea what this would cost to like send to Australia. But to answer your question, in the next week, this will be, yeah, I'll be giving this away. Someone will be selected to win this, and I'll ship it shortly thereafter. Because yeah, that's just fun for everybody to be able to win. If you guys can't hear me, let me know. I lost my mic here. Yeah, Sarah, buy one of these. I bought the last one like in my whole county somehow. So hopefully you get one. Rip it apart, see what's in there. What's cooler, Tabless M12 batteries or Tabless Flex Volt? Man, that's a tricky one. Everyone kind of has wanted both, or a lot of people have wanted both. Tabless Flex Volt, it's like one of those things forever. Like, when's Tabless Flex Volt going to come out? Definitely, I think less fanfare for the Tabless Flex Volt. Right there with a Ridgid adapter on it. That's not the Tabless, actually. That's the 9. I will keep saying it, and I don't care if so many people were like, why would Milwaukee make a M12 Flex or a Tabless? They don't need that. You need to move to M18. What are you doing? Like, all this stuff. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I still think they need to make a Tabless M12 battery. And I've showed it because incidentally, like, 2 different people reached out to me, and they were like, hey, I make Tabless M12 batteries. Do you want one? Obviously I paid for it, but they sent them to me, and they make a difference. I showed it on that first video. I'm going to do a couple more tests with like higher draw M12 tools. I think the M12 Tabless battery is the better, or what was your question? Like, what's cooler? Yeah, Tabless M12, because if you can get, instead of like the big, L-shaped base plate battery, if you can get that performance, the 50HO, out of a little battery like that, why wouldn't you do that? Why would you be complaining to Milwaukee and saying you don't need to make that? I don't get it. It's like, we're going to make something better, more powerful. It's going to drop the price of the regular batteries, and then people still complain about it. Like, just move to M18. So I'm kind of ranting here, but I think the reason they don't make them is because it would challenge M18 a little bit. Because Milwaukee, they don't want you to buy this. They want you to buy these. They want you to say, I need a little more power. I can't throw a forged battery on here. I better jump up to the M18. So, conspiracy theory. But I've got more of those coming. So just so you guys know, I have a 6 amp. I've got the little 3 amp Tabless, courtesy of a couple guys. I'll give them a shout out when I make a video. And I think I have a 9 amp coming. 9 amp Tabless battery, M12 battery. So it's using this casing like this from these Waitley Amazon batteries. Tabless though, so that's pretty crazy. Tabless 9 amp M12. So that'll be fun. Yeah. So that's coming really soon. Yeah. Snap-on 14.4. They need Tabless. My tools need an update. I don't know what to say about Snap-on. if you're in the right industry, you've got a Snap-on bill, and tabless is just going to make that a lot worse. So would I rather use the Surge Gen 2 or the Stealth Force? So I got to be careful what I say, because tool community, tool fans, it's very tribal. Like if I say this is good, you're gonna have like 10 other brand fanboys saying like this thing sucks, and you're paid by Milwaukee. So I'll just go ahead and say it. This is actually faster if you're using small fasteners and you're not in like hardwood. So I'll do another live video test to show that. But go with this. If you're not on a platform, if you're not on either of these platforms, but you want a hydraulic, well, between these two, I would go with the Surge, or the Stealth Force rather. This thing's crazy. Like we were talking about, I want to know what's inside this. I want to know what they're doing. There's some trade-offs, but they did something really cool with this. And I think brands are going to copy this. I don't think they're going to copy this. This is just there because it's there to compete with the 870. But this is a whole other thing. You know, it's a game changer, as everybody says. So yeah, go with that. Definitely this. There's more pros to this, I think, than there are pros with the Stealth, or I keep saying it wrong, the Surge. So yeah, okay, so man, Sarah, you're like taking all my video ideas here, buddy. You have your own channel, so I got to be careful. You know, this is like competition here. So when I did the video about, I think it was the Mythbuster Monday, the whole Milwaukee tabless M12, everybody, like most people said, if you're wanting a forged battery on M12, you just need to go M18. Like, why would you do that? You know, obviously they make M18 for a reason. So what are you trying to do, like, eke out performance in these? And the thing is, that's what Milwaukee, like, if you think that, Milwaukee has brainwashed you. If you're using this and you're saying, man, I need some more power, and you need more power, this is just not cutting it, and you go, I better go to M18, Milwaukee marketing has brainwashed you. That's exactly, like, they've done their job, because this is not compatible in any way, even though the color's the same, with M18. I will say there's a caveat there. So the only thing that this is compatible with is some of the M18 chargers will also charge an M12 battery. But other than that, this might as well be purple, and this might as well be a Greenworks, because there's no compatibility. There's no incentive. There's no synergy for saying, I have an M12, I better go with an M18. Other than the color, other than if you just like the color. What I'm saying is, if you're on an M12 and it's not getting the job done, that's fine. That happens a lot. But why not go with Flex? Why not go with the Ridgid? Why not go with DeWalt? Why not go with Greenworks? Why not go with Makita? They all have different batteries. They all have different adapters. They all have different chargers. There's no reason to go M18, other than if you just like Milwaukee. It's not like I can put this clip on an M12. As I mentioned, besides the chargers that charge both batteries, there's no like incentive for that. Milwaukee just wants you to say, I have a red tool, it's not getting the job done, let me upgrade to the other red tool. Just go with what I'm saying is, don't stick with M12. I'm just saying, if you got to upgrade, go with the best brand for you. Don't just move to M18 because it's red. But so many people were like, there goes the battery. So many people were like, if M12 isn't cutting it, you got to move to M18. And it's like, the Milwaukee marketing team is probably just like raking in the dough. Like, these guys, we got them. Like, you know. So anyway, that's my rant on that. Like, you know, if you got to upgrade, you know, pick the best platform, you know, and just move up like that. So I have a lot of rants, as you can tell, but I think there's some truth to it. You know, buy the best tools for you. There's let me just say one other thing, because I think Sayer mentioned it. There's nothing wrong. Like, there's actually a lot right with go M12, because you could get a lot done with these, and then get DeWalt 20 volt, because honestly, their 12 volt kind of sucks. This is really good. This is really good. You don't lose anything other than maybe being able to charge the batteries on the same charger. So, I mean, that's a pretty good combo right there, because they make a lot of tools that Milwaukee M18 doesn't make. So, it's kind of like do what's best for you. Don't do what's best for like the marketing companies. Yeah, I'm just kidding, Sarah. You have all I'm saying is you have a lot of good ideas. And we're a live video, so I could refer back to this. Yeah, somebody said they have adapters, but they have it. Somebody said they have adapters. I guess you're saying you can use M18 batteries on your M12 tools, so you should go M18. So are you sure you should go M18? Now, you could take that same adapter on your M12 tool and you could go M18. The point is, I mean, we could go all night on this. These batteries are more similar than the brands would want you to know. In fact, these cells, there's a good chance these use the same cells in them. There's a circuit board on top that's a little bit different. But obviously, you just saw these two batteries work on the same adapter on a Milwaukee tool. So keep that in mind. These might be a different color, but it's like, imagine plugging, back when tools were corded. Imagine plugging your tool into one house, into a circuit, and then you go to the next house and they say, oh, you can't use that tool here. That's kind of what the tool brands are trying to tell you with these. You can't interchange batteries. You can get battery adapters for both of these, and you'll have people tell you, you'll burn your house down and all this stuff. And there's some truth to that. Don't burn your house down. But just don't buy into the hype. Don't buy into the marketing. These are very similar. It's electricity inside battery cells. So I'm telling you, don't just move to M18 because it's red. That's all I'm saying. And I own a lot of M18, so I'm not biased there. Drew doesn't read every warning. Yeah, that's the name of the game. I burned through some tools, guys. I'm trying to get it on camera, but I burned through some tools. Snap-on caused my divorce. I hear you there. Yeah. That's the one thing she might not want to get half of. Someone mentioned the DCD 1007. Dangerous. Yeah. It does have the anti-kickback, which it sounds like a sissy thing, like, oh, I don't need that. But yeah, a little mistake on this, even with that on, and you could, you could smack yourself around pretty good with it. Perform Protect by DeWalt. Yeah, this is a good one. Arturo says, newer videos, did you get a new camera? So because you guys are live, and this is a little bit embarrassing, but it's on live, so hey, you get insider info. So I do all of my filming with my phone. So if you want to know, I have a OnePlus 15, kind of a weird phone, but it has a good camera. It has good cameras. So I probably should get a dedicated camera, but I've been making do with my phone. Sometimes when you see YouTube videos, you think like, oh, like whole production studio and all of this stuff. But so I film my videos, I edit all my videos and all that. Like, it's just me, and so I'm trying to make it like exciting, if you want to say that, and like do different angles and different quality, or like make the quality high. But yeah, it's just my camera phone, or my phone, and I take that as a compliment that it looks good, at least some of the time. So yeah. Yeah, it is. I agree with Keith there. It is getting kind of late. Let's see. Disable a clutch on my joist drill. Yeah. So if you guys, this is another video I want to do. So if you've ever used like a cordless super hog or joist drill, or excuse me, not cordless, but a corded like joist drill, a lot of them, especially back in the day, they don't have the electronics that these new ones have, where basically they shut down before you could really like hurt yourself big time. And you can still hurt yourself, but they didn't have the electronics. So basically when they stall, like nowadays when a drill stalls, it's just like, that's it. It's like a cordless drill. It'll just stall, big deal, whatever. The corded drills, when they stall, their torque like goes to the roof. So when they stall, it's like, it's not just like it cuts out. It's like it'll throw you, like like when people say it throws you off the ladder, like it will throw you off the ladder. It will like smack you in the chest, bang you in the, like it. I want to do a video on that because it's different now with all the electronics. So that's kind of cool. And it's funny that someone says they want to disable the clutch, because like that's the one thing nowadays saving you from that. Yeah, death machines. Yeah. Even nowadays, like the Flex, the new Flex, the one that makes like 75 foot-pounds or whatever, if like when I do my tests, I'm like braced up. I actually like to brace up high because I can lock my arm. It's not a good idea because you could smack yourself. But the point is, like, I'm like braced against this thing, holding on for it. So imagine if you're just like this, like when people say like just use a drill for everything, like have fun using this drill, like building a deck or like an awning like that, because you're not going to have a good time. Yeah, these things. It's so cool, like how much power these things make now. And they do have some safeties, but yeah. Yeah, Keith says he's known guys that have broken wrists with the old corded drills. I believe it. Yeah, for sure. I haven't seen it firsthand. I thankfully haven't experienced it, but for sure, look on YouTube. You'll find some old videos of guys like, yeah. I want to say I looked it up once. Like, I think drill drivers have the most power tool injuries year in, year out. for stuff like that, including like getting your hand bound up in there, even more than like circular saws, unless I'm wrong on that. But yeah, I think we'll wrap this up. But Anthony says, what's your favorite tool brand? I got to be careful there. I mean, okay, I'll say this. A year ago, I was really into Flex. Like, if someone asked me that question a year ago, I think I would say Flex. But honestly, like, it's hard to say this because it's really tribal. Like, people really like their brand. They really like their brand to win every test or whatever. But there's something to be said about every like professional brand. What I mean by that is like DeWalt, Milwaukee, Flex, right up there. It's hard to pick one of those. A lot of them have different tools that just the other platforms don't have. Like, for me, it's easier to say like best drill driver. Like, if I could pick one, it's the new Gen 2 Turbo. I mean, it's insane. But like hydraulic, I mean, again, I've only tested this a bit. Like, this could be your only impact driver easily, and it's small and it's light. So I can't pick one brand. I would say I'm losing tools here. It's more like which brands do I really not like? I tried to like Cobalt. I know they're just like kind of a prosumer brand, but they're not doing a lot. Maybe that'll be a whole video. I could go on all night about that, but my heart will always be very near and dear to Flex, even though they're not in a great position, again, because they're not in brick and mortar stores really. So yeah. Yeah, Cobalt, kind of more DIYer. Their little 3/4 impact wrench was pretty cool. If you don't look at the battery, it's like so small. It's not super capable, but like for a 3/4, 3/8, you could do a lot of little stuff on your car, interior and engine bay. Anyway, I should probably do like one of those, like, what is it, like S tier, A, B, C, D, E tier of what I think brands are. Those get pretty controversial, and you know, I'm okay with that. So yeah, that's a good idea. I'm sorry I didn't have a better answer for you, like what's my favorite, but I'll have to think about that. So let's see. Sayer says, join Keith's server, cool woodworking server. Yeah, I'm not on any Discord or anything like that, so I'm assuming that's what you mean. Yeah, send me a link or invite if you're not open to it. No hard feelings. I won't be offended. But if Keith's open to it, I always like collaborating or just seeing what you guys have to say. I do want to say one thing. As I mentioned this at the beginning, but like there's not a tool channel I don't like. Maybe that sounds like BS, but I don't watch every single tool channel on YouTube religiously, but I try to find the best that everyone has. Just try to come away with like the best. Look for the positive in like what people are doing and saying, even if it's like total opposite of what you're trying to do or say. So I'm always open to that. I try to not talk bad about any other people, commenters, channels. So I appreciate any kind of openness in that sense. So, but over here in California, it's about midnight. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for if you're here for the test earlier. Thanks for checking that out, and all the comments, questions, ideas. This is really cool. This makes me want to do more live videos. It's always a little bit like, you know, you're literally on the spot. but this is cool. And thanks for joining. Thanks for the support. Hopefully this channel sticks around for the next year at least. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. So yeah, well, and then last thing, giveaway is coming. You guys will see it, and I'll show. It'll be easy to join it or whatever, or to enter in to win. So stay tuned this week, and we'll see you on the next one. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it. Have a good night. Get some sleep. It's late.